welcome to another Teacher's Corner. This is Tweaking Your Endgame Ship Part 5, and this one's going to be a little different. So I'm going to start out with, I was leveling up some ships, which, as we all know, if you're endgame, any ships you have access to, you level up to get the ship trait. As you can see, I have been very busy leveling up ships. Well, as I was leveling up a ship, and I'm going to show you which one, as I was leveling up the, the Temporal Dreadnought cruiser, I was doing my Taudewa patrols to level it up, and one of my friends said, "Hey, I want to do an ISA." So we got in, we did our ISA, and I parsed, as you can see here. I've got the parse here. One guy ended up disconnecting. He dropped match, and we had gone in, 4 of us had gone in as a pug, so we did not actually leave the map. So we kept going, so we ended up with 4 in the match. But as you can see here, I parsed 80k. So this was quite a difference from the 53k from the other ship. Now we did do one later and parsed slightly lower at 76k, and that was with a full team. So this was not a fluke. This was a, whoa, what's up here? So as I looked at it, and I looked through, and everything seemed fairly normal. I didn't notice anything that stuck out as irregular on the parse. So I said, okay, we can, my pets were a little high, but when we looked at it, that's 4 feds, that's to be expected. Okay, so I decided, okay, I think I'm going to stick with this ship, and that happens sometimes in endgame. So I'm going to stick with this ship. So let me close this out. Alright, so this is the Temporal Dreadnought cruiser. It is one of the 31st century ships. And as you can see here, I have already renamed it Teacher's Corner. And I'm going to ready the starship. So as you can see here, I've got my standard gear, which means there's still lots of room for improvement here. I still have the pets that came with it. Okay, so of course we can eventually get the improved or elite versions of these pets. I still have space for another Spire tactical console. I have my 3, of course, science consoles. I have one of the consoles from the 31st century ships. I have my timeline stabilizer, my plasmonic leech, my bioneural for the extra critical damage. I've got my, of course, I can epic out the rest of these weapons as I keep going, and of course this is eventually going to become the Iconian set. Okay, so as you can see, there's still lots of room for improvement. Now that we've readied this starship, let me show you. Now, it was interesting. The reason I was surprised was because this is a pretty standard level it up quickly build. I'm not even using chemocyte here. Okay, so that is of course something that I can change. I could easily, if I can get one at a reasonable price, use a couple ZMOC Genros and get this down to where I only need 1 copy of attack pattern beta and slip in a chemocyte laced weaponry in the other slot. I can do that. I'm still using my con officers, but you'll notice I'm not even using any of the temporal abilities. Now I may change out this auxiliary powered structural integrity field for something like recursive shearing, maybe put something in place of this engineering team. I'll have to look into it, but as you can see, there is still lots of room for tweaks and changes and improvement. Okay, so this is my new ship. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that all of my traits are here. They are. Alright, and I've also reached tier 4 in a couple things. So I do have a few other options here for my space reputation. Now, if you remember our power levels from before, we always set, in fact, let me go into space to do this so you can see. Alright, and beaming up. We're of course going to make sure everything's set the way we had it before. Okay. Alright. So you remember with our power levels, we always set weapons to our highest, and then auxiliary power is our second highest. Well, now we're going to see why it is we do that. I'll explain. Alright, so we're space reputation, and I'm looking in the, I just hit tier 4 in Nukara. Now with tier 4 in Nukara, you get auxiliary power configuration offensive. Okay, this is a pretty important trait for doing DPS. In space combat, you gain a damage and accuracy boost based on your auxiliary power level, plus 4.6% all damage based on auxiliary power level, plus 4.6% accuracy based on auxiliary power level. Skills that affect this ability, none. But what does affect this ability is your aux power level, and that of course is going to go up as my plasmonic leech affects it and increases that power level. So the higher that goes, the higher my bonus goes. Okay, that is why we put our aux power as the second highest. And then of course I have other traits I can choose from. Okay, and I'm gonna look through here. If I were running a torpedo boat, I would choose Omega Kinetic Shearing. Since I'm not, I'm going to continue looking through, and I have a few things I can choose. Now, enhanced armor penetration. This is always helpful. Okay, now you don't have to choose this, and in fact I may switch this out later as more traits open up. But for the time being, at least, all ship weapons will have increased armor penetration, resulting in less damage resistance. So this gives me another plus 5% armor penetration. So I'm going to put that here. Now this is a pretty strong DPS trait configuration. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that as is until some other things open up. There are of course other things that I can choose later on that haven't opened up for me yet that may be just a little better. Alright, so this has been a Teacher's Corner, tweaking your endgame ship part 5, and of course I'm also going to eventually unlock the 5th space reputation trait. Anyway, so this has been Teacher Corner, tweaking your in-game starship part 5. To recap, so we have decided to change our in-game ship based on some performance things that we saw when running a random ISA, and we have added some space reputation traits to our ship, and we may consider changing some of the bridge officer skills here. Alright, join me next time for the next episode playthrough. I will see you there.